Do me a favor and watch this video.
If you sleep with losers, you reward them for being losers. Throughout all of human history, losers could never get fucked. Until now. Because they can mimic competent men, and most women are too disconnected from their own femininity to realize that most men right now are predators, not men by any circumstances. Right. The good men are probably going to be a little more intense, a little more aggressive, a little more controlling. They're going to ask more from you. But oh, that's not for you, I'm sorry. Instead, psychopathy and short-term dating is going to get you something. The choice you have is to sleep with the men that you respect and admire and want to have in your life. Think about how many men you slept with that didn't make your cut. You just rewarded them to be the same douchebag they are that you fucked. Because you weren't willing to accept what vulnerability is, which is being able to accept the necessities as a woman that you have. That ask a lot from men. Oh, but I can't be seen as that. Who would love that? Well, great question. Ask yourself. How about you start there?
Now, there is a lot to unpack here. Like every single podcast out there, there's always some truth mingled in with a good amount of BS. And the reason why this one is a little bit tricky because this one is covered with a lot of different contradicting views, which some true, some partially true, and others just wrong. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the idea that he said most men are predators, to some extent. But to what extent is that? I will argue to a small extent. Because if you think about it, if you define predatory as the idea of trying to get laid, I wouldn't really consider that predatory. Unless you're trying to lay a woman against a consent or you're trying to lay with a minor. I don't consider the idea of trying to get laid predatory. But you might consider it somewhat selfish or somewhat self-aggrandizing because it's only your desire to get laid that you might try to do a bunch of things to get laid. But now if I ask you, is that really predatory? What if a woman decided to get laid and she does that kinds of things to get laid by a man? Would we consider her predatory? Oh, yes, if she drugs him or she tries to blackmail him or something like that, I can understand it. The same way for a man doing it to get a woman in his bed, right? You might consider that predatory if a man decides to try to coerce this woman. But if it's a consensual thing, or if it is a thing that has to do with some level of convincing, some might even argue seduction, we wouldn't really consider that, coercion per se. And so far, I don't think that most men are trying to coerce women into having sex with them. So most men are not predatory. Some men might try to seduce women, however bad that might turn out for them because they suck at it or because it's much more difficult than it looks. But I wouldn't necessarily call that predatory. We are very loose with words we use these days because we don't really take into consideration just how crazy some of them are to apply to a broader concept or to a concept that is poorly explained. It's not predatory to want to sleep with a woman. Unless you're trying to coerce a woman to sleep with you against her will or blackmail her. Or unless you're trying to coerce a minor child that's not even a woman to sleep with you. Unless you put her under the influence of some drug or something like that. Then I could understand the idea of predatory. Now, if I ask you this, and this is a very important argument. If I ask you, which one is more predatory? Walking up to a woman and saying, hey, I like you a lot and I really want to have sex with you. Walking up to a woman and saying, listen, I want your money. I don't like you, but I want your money. Which one do you think women we think is more predatory? Do you think women we think a man walking up to them to try to sleep with them is more predatory? Or a man walking up to them to try to get their money is more predatory? Which one would you think? Just a curiosity. I would argue that women would, even though they might say something different, they would think a man trying to take their money is more predatory than a man asking to sleep with them. Yes, they might turn them down both times, but for the man trying to sleep with her, she's like, I'm not attracted to you. And from a man trying to take her money, she's like, fuck no. I'm not giving you my money. What's wrong with you? Why two different responses? Well, for the most part, because trying to take somebody's money is way more of an impact to that person than trying to have sex with them. Because trying to have sex with them is a mutual assured game that they both of them play, whereby, in theory, they both satisfy each other's urges. Now, I could play it with you, but if I'm not attracted to you, then I don't get to play with you. But however, there is no position where you taking my money is a good idea. Even if I give it to you as a gift, I'm still losing because it's still my effort that I'm putting into financial incentive towards you. So I'm still losing. You are gaining, I'm losing. I'm not gaining anything from you because I'm losing money to you. I'm losing a receipt that showed that I worked hard to you. So me trying to take away your money is more of a predatory act than me trying to ask you for sex. So in theory, that would mean that women are being trained mostly to be more predatory than men, because women are asking for men's money. You can say that men are trying to get women to sleep with them. Yes, but trying to get someone to sleep with you is not the same thing as trying to take money from somebody. Trying to get someone to spend money on you. Two different things. Because both people can enjoy sex. Only one person enjoys money that's been taken away from the other person. That's the fact. Moving on. Another point it states is that somehow women rewarding these losers just incentivizes them to keep being losers. Because women are rewarding them with sex. Now, I partially agree and partially disagree with him again. Why is that? Well, I can understand the perspective of women sleeping with a loser. And if this loser keeps getting a bunch of pussy, then probably is going to think that that's what it should be. It should keep being a loser. But then how is that different from the men that incentivize women that are fucking losers as well by still sleeping with them? So women giving up sex isn't considered a gift or some kind of a reward, in my opinion. Only loosely. Why? Because sex is not a reward. Because you could also say that men are rewarding these stupid women by trying to sleep with them. Because that's also its own reward. But that's only as a reward in a loose form. Because sexual intercourse has nothing to do with rewarding competence. I think the major issue I see among these red pill channels, whether they're red pill, blue pill, whatever pill, all these dating channels, is that they're always trying to link female desire to sleep with somebody as a form of payment for competence. If a woman tries to sleep with a man, it's because the man is competent. That is never supposed to be in the same room. Yes, one could lead to the other indirectly. Sex is not a consequence of competence. Sex is the consequence of horniness. How horny are you? That's it. Sex should never be based on competence. You should be trying to sleep with somebody because that person is competent. That doesn't make any sense. You should be trying to have a relationship with someone that's competent. Hopefully that you are also equally competent, so you can gain from them the same way you plan to invest in them. That's it. Does this indirectly mean that you are somewhat only sleeping with competent people? Sure. Does this mean that because you are invested sexually with people that are competent, that means that you are rewarding them for their competence? No. It just means that that's the byproduct, or that comes with a relationship. And yes, because you are in a relationship with a competent person, you tend to sleep with a competent person. It's not because they're competent that they are sleeping with them. Not the same thing. But this is why men lose. So men lose because there are two types of, in my opinion, there are two types of losers that are men. There's the virtuous losers and the unvirtuous losers. And the virtuous losers, in my opinion, is what this man is talking about, that these women are sleeping with. These bad boys that don't care about women, don't care about anything, that are dicks, that are idiots, that are narcissists, whatever. Women are still sleeping with them. So they are losers, they're pieces of shit, but they're hot. And so women doing what comes naturally want to fuck them because they're hot. That's it. It has nothing to do with competence. And women are shown this again and again and again, that they will fuck a guy that's incompetent if he's hot, even if he's a loser. Now, there's the other difference. There's the virtuous loser, which is the simp, the white knight, in my opinion. And there's the men that are called incompetent. But in this argument, is portraying the idea that men just wanting to sleep with women equals to men's predatory nature and incompetence, which is bullshit. Because men are trying to sleep with women goes to what they call nature. Men are naturally attracted to women, and women are naturally attracted to men. The only reasons why there's any kind of disbalance between who wants to sleep with who, because women have way more options than men do. And that's based on a lot of factors, including pregnancy, but I will get to that much later. Mostly societal. But I'll get to that much later. And then it goes ahead to talk about how, you can't make this up, it goes ahead to talk about how a woman should always sleep with the woman she respects, basically speaking. Fine, cool. But then, what did it say the kind of man she respects does? This is the other contradiction. When the man she respects is a little bit aggressive, controlling, so if he's controlling all these things, then why the hell should she be sleeping with him exactly? Is it because he's hot? Or is it because he's acting like the douche? Is it because he's controlling? That doesn't really make any sense, because then it goes ahead to now negate his point again by saying that women should ask for stuff. The reason that women are not getting it because women are not asking for. Oh, what are you talking about? First of all, you're talking about the kind of men that women should be sleeping with, and men that are non-nonsense. Men that are slightly more aggressive, slightly more controlling. Okay, those men are not going to be just giving you whatever you want. So what are you asking for? So this is all the contradictions he's putting up in here. So it's a bunch of wasara. Now, to be fair, maybe they over-edited his podcast and they just cut it down too much without a lot of context. But for what I'm hearing, it's a bunch of mix-up and BS. There's a bunch of things that are not really adding up coherently. So what am I trying to say? First things first. The idea of sex and competence shouldn't be in the same fucking sentence. That's the first thing. Second thing, most men are not predators. If anything, a lot more women are predators. Not most women, a lot more women. And thirdly, well, if you're going to be the non-nonsense guy that is a little bit aggressive and a little bit going to tell you what to do, is intense, if you're going to be that kind of guy, then you're obviously not going to be listening to women demanding things for you and things that you have to live up to. Because you're the alpha in the situation. So what the fuck are you listening to that woman in the first place? So telling women to go fuck that guy is as equal to telling women that they should stop asking for stupid shit. Because those kind of guys are not going to accept stupid shit in the first place. So why are you asking women that I'm so afraid to ask men for things? But what are you talking about? All these are incoherent in many ways. So that's why I say in most of these podcasts, it's a bunch of truth, also a bunch of BS that don't really make that much sense. Anyway, guys, that's all I gotta say today, and I'll see you guys later.